all I remember is this buzzing and this presence just came upon me, and I fell, and I knew in that moment that I had the answer. It was the Holy Spirit that I needed. I needed the Holy Spirit. Hi, my name is Kabasigyi, and wow, do I have a story to share. So back in 2012, going into 2013, I was invited to Kingdom Impact Community Church for a New Year's Eve service. I went with a couple of my friends, and as we entered the church, everyone was jumping up and down, excited, worshiping. I remember there were so many lights, and my initial thought was, is this a club? And so after some time, I realized, okay, obviously this isn't a club. So my next thought was, this must be a cult. It was so different than what I had ever seen or experienced that it made me feel uneasy. So I said, God, if you're really here, show me. Then from the worship, Pastor Asif shared the word, and towards the end of his word, he looked at me and he said, you want to know if God is real, right? Or if God is here, right? Come, he'll show you. That alone was a sign from God for me. But when I went to the altar, all I remember is this buzzing and this presence just came upon me, and I fell and I wept because in that moment I knew that God didn't want to just show me a sign, but he wanted to show me that he's divine and he's real and he's with me. I was so, I can't even explain it. I was so in love with God in that moment that he cared for me so much to show me that he was there and that he's with me. And so after that, I went to Ottawa. So I was going to school in Ottawa. So I went back, and fast forward to 2014, a high school friend of mine committed suicide. And during that time, I started to experience anxieties and depression and suicidal thoughts. Now, I had experience with that before giving my life to Christ, so I was confused. I'm like, Jesus, why am I feeling this way? And he reminded me of the encounter and that he's with me. But I'm like, Jesus, I need this to be taken away from me. So I went to church in Ottawa. I started seeing counselors. I was just trying to figure out how to get this away from me. I needed it to be gone. I didn't want to live like that. And nothing was working. To be honest, nothing was working. So I left church because I was done with church. Church was not enough for me. And I just kept asking God for an answer. And I said, you know what, God, I'm done with church. And I started to even Google how to be a believer and not go to church. And so fast forward to I graduated and I came back home. And this is now in 2015, and I'm still searching, still going, and doctors telling me to take antidepressants. And I said, no, God, you're a healer. Take this from me. I don't want to live on antidepressants. I don't want to live going to counseling. I don't want to live going to the gym. I can't even get up. I don't even have motivation to get up. So people started telling me to go to this church, and I spoke to a friend who was still going to KICC, and she said, CG, come back to KICC, but I just kept rejecting it because I was rejecting church. So then it took some time, and the Holy Spirit kept speaking to me. The Holy Spirit said, go back to KICC, it's safe. Go back to KICC, it's safe. So eventually, nothing else was working, so I decided, fine, I'll go to KICC. And I remember it was October of 2015, and that day, I remember Pastor Asif was talking about the Holy Spirit and the soul and how you can be saved, but I remember him saying it was like a hard drive. You have all this junk and stuff that needs to be delivered and healed. And I knew in that moment that I had the answer. It was the Holy Spirit that I needed. I needed the Holy Spirit. And so I mean, fast forward from 2015 to now, God has delivered me. And I realized that you can be a believer and believe in Jesus, but you need the Holy Spirit for deliverance. You need the encounter. You need to know that God is with you and God has a plan for you, and that it's that you don't need to kill yourself. You don't need to stop, because God is with you and God can deliver you. And I realized that's what it is. It's encounters. It's the Holy Spirit. And I know without a doubt, a sign from God was not what would have kept me. Medicine, it wouldn't have kept, I would have given up. I would have ended my life. It's not a sign. It's the encounter that has kept me.